Mr. Deputy Speaker, Sir, I support this budget and also I would like to congratulate the Honorable Prime Minister for presenting on unique budget in which attention has been paid to every section of society. Facilities have been provided to all sections of our people, including the working class, middle class, professionals, Harijans, and Adivasis. The Honorable Prime Minister, by his budget, has made an auspicious start in giving a new direction to the country, which had its origin in Gandhi Ji slogan for Free India and which started in the rural areas and which was implemented by late Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and got further encouragement by late Shrimati Indira Gandhi in her economic program. That is why the Honorable Prime Minister began his budget speech by stating that our chief aim is to eliminate poverty and to build a beautiful, modern, progressive and a stable economy. I heartily congratulate him on behalf of my countrymen and myself. He said that 90% of our economy is dependent on agriculture, and in the second line, he said that agriculture is the bedrock of our economy. In order to eradicate poverty, it is absolutely essential to develop the agriculture sector. He has assured the people of the country who belong to a country which is primarily agricultural that the development would begin from the rural areas and not from the urban areas. The honorable members have expressed their views on agriculture. The Honorable Prime Minister has said that remunerative prices will be paid to the farmers and that he was committed to ensure supply of more water, electricity, fertilizer and seeds and to provide more loans to the farmers. It is in itself an important achievement that the Honorable Prime Minister of the country has declared in the whole House that he is committed to the development of India and a beginning is being made in this direction. There can be no two opinions about it that under the leadership of the present Prime Minister, those areas of the country which had remained backward for the last 50 years, which now be able to make rapid progress. Concessions have been granted not only to agriculture but to industries as well, particularly to the small scale units, for example, the leather industry. In case of plastics, textiles, dhoti and sulabh sarees, excise duty has been reduced to 60%. Apart from it, he emphasized that the defense build-up in the world today is one of the reasons for international tension. In this situation, we are also trying to strengthen our defense. In this regard, he said that in the current situation, highest priority has been given in the year 1987-88 to maintenance of tempo of the ongoing schemes and to ensure the security of our borders. Budget outlay for 1987-88 is rupees 2 crores, of which rupees 14 crore is in the shape of budgetary support. By this outlay, if 36% of the targets of the 7th 5-year plan could be achieved, it would be a record achievement. Our borders have become more secure and will be strengthened even more. It is also a matter of pride. Along with it, I would also like to make my submission in regard to education. The Honorable Prime Minister had made announcements regarding education policy at the very outset. This year, rupees 800 crores have been earmarked for it. Now, through the new education policy, we would be able to provide quality education to those children who for some regions are not able to go to towns for higher education. The more education spreads in this country, the more will it unite, make strong and integrate until we inculcate spirit of nationalism in our children. Our country cannot make progress. Hence, I would request you to adopt a system of education by which we build national character of our children. Hence, our education policy should be such which would build the character of the children, and this thing should be emphasized. Today, we see that the state of our primary education in the rural area is very miserable. The buildings of the primary schools have fallen to the ground, and the children study under the shade of trees. The school remain closed during the rains and the winter season, and in most of the schools, the teachers do not even attend schools regularly. When I went to my constituency during the elections, a little child asked me a question in a very simple language, which though would make one laugh if taken lightly, but the depth of it can be gauged only after listening carefully to what he has said. You can easily infer from it that even a little child knows that the teachers do not attend schools. It is a very serious matter and it should be given due consideration. Such laws should be framed so that there could be maximum spread of education in the rural areas.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.